So in today's video, we are watching the Tactical Brits video on Black Ops 6 Warzone integration is a mess. Now, I've watched a lot of Brits content and I absolutely love it. He has a lot of really good videos and puts a lot of effort into these. So let's go ahead and watch this, and I'm super excited to kind of give my reaction to this video.
If your experience with Black Ops 6's version of Warzone has been less than positive or a bit of a mixed bag, you're not alone. And the reason for it is probably going to boggle your mind a little bit, because it definitely sent my head for a spin.
Is that guy cheating? Yeah, he was.
Just talking about one specific thing that's broken, like audio, which is definitely having its issues.
Yeah, the audio is horrible. Horrible.
In the underlying code for Call of Duty as to why Black Ops 6's version of Warzone feels so backwards. Now, granted, Black Ops 6's integration has some good positives, and we will talk about that in this video, because there are some quality of life changes that were sorely needed.
That guy's cheating too. Dude, bro, wait, what? He's already running into hackers?
Fairly rigorous testing myself, I've actually found that there is more than meets the eye to Black Ops 6's integration of Warzone, and we have to talk about it today. If you enjoy this video...
So before he continues, I will say Warzone in general, the new integration, it's not bad, but there are just some serious issues, and I'm sure he'll talk about it in this video. Like, there's no audio. The movement kind of feels a little weird. I know it's like one-to-one from multiplayer to Warzone, but it just doesn't really translate, I feel like, as smooth. And there's like munition boxes and armor boxes that aren't opening as fast. There's a lot of weird bugs, and just, it's not very fluid. It feels very, I hate to say it, Warzone 2-esque, where there's just some things you're like, what is going on? Why is it so slow? They're just so sluggish. So I'm sure he'll talk about a lot of it, but it's super weird.
Video, please do drop a like, consider subscribing. I'm on the road to 200k subscribers, and quite frankly, I've been doing all sorts of videos in the COD space lately that have been...
Yeah, if you guys haven't already, I will put his link in the bottom of the description. Make sure you guys go drop a sub to him. Absolute incredible creator.
Warzone, there was a bit of a head-scratching segment in the overarching post. It said that as part of Black Ops 6's Warzone integration, we would be returning to the old version of Urzikstan. And it's because obviously the new version of Black Ops 6 is on a slightly different engine to what Modern Warfare 3 was operating on.
Yeah.
They are two entirely different code bases. That is why Warzone, prior to the integration of Black Ops 6, had to be launched from an entirely separate client and wasn't part of COD HQ.
Yeah, so this is super weird. So if he didn't really explain it as clear, I will say the reason we're still on Urzikstan and we're also on an older version of Urzikstan is because when they had to do the Black Ops 6 integration, they had to build the game basically, or integrate the game on an older client. So all of the quality of life changes we had, like they added Superstore to Urzikstan, we had to revert those changes because it just wasn't possible for them to do it on the newer version of the game for some reason. I don't know why. I'm obviously not smart enough to know why, but it seems absolutely crazy. So that is one of the reasons that we had to go back to an older version of Urzikstan, and a lot of people are super confused about it.
There is a new audio system, there is a new anti-cheat at a kernel level, there is basically a whole new code base that separates Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 6,
right,
even though they have some shared common values. But what if I told you it extended beyond just revisions to Urzikstan? Because having done some testing and played in a bunch of private and custom lobbies to try and figure out what's going on, it isn't just the map. The map was just a random byproduct of having to roll back the engine. What's really broken in Black Ops 6's version of Warzone is that they have rolled back a number of quality of life changes that were made during the Modern Warfare 3 edition of Warzone that has not only completely chalked things like audio and aiming, but has also completely torched frame rate and performance.
Yeah, that's what I figured. A lot of the frames have been super low. Super low.
Things that were fixed that are now broken. And I'm going to start with audio, because audio is something that has
absolutely no audio.
Negative for the vast majority of people on the internet. Now, granted, I did end up cooking a lot of you saying that it was just you using sound equalization and it actually wasn't that bad. But after doing some testing, I will happily put my hands up and say I was dead wrong. A number of significant audio fixes are entirely missing in this code base for Black Ops 6. The first one is audio priority on players. During the lifecycle of Modern Warfare 3, there was a change that was made that deliberately reduced the volume and audio of your own footsteps, your own effects like floating, and all of your teammates.
So I will say, I do know that the audio was a super big focus for the Black Ops 6 integration, and something just has to be wrong, because the audio footsteps that you have for your own individual character are extremely loud, but the audio footsteps that are around your enemies, your teammates, anything else is like super quiet. So something's got to be like really, really off. And I know that he does a very good explanation in this video talking about it. So we'll kind of wait for him to explain it. But just something with the audio is just so off. And obviously it's not intentional. So I'm curious to see how long it'll take for them to kind of revert that and fix it.
Around you. And this was a deliberate change. The reason for it is because when your character emits too much audio in your headphones, it clogs up the audio priority system.
Right.
That's now gone. So you will hear your own parachute, your own stomping, your teammates' parachutes mantling and stomping at pretty much maximum volume. So this
which is
fix that
insane.
existed in Modern Warfare 3 has been completely rolled back. And this gets exponentially worse when you combine it with the new spatial audio and head-related transfer function. This audio should give you better positional audio by definition, and it absolutely should be operating in a way that's greatly meant to improve the audio systems within Warzone. But as a result of them not transferring over this fix in the Modern Warfare 3 era, you're now hearing your own audio so loudly in the spatial audio space and reverb from that audio so loudly that you basically can't hear a thing that's going on from any other footstep,
Yeah.
reload, or anything else in the game.
That makes sense,
Let alone when you
dude.
start layering on things like kill streaks in the distance.
But you can jump through that
and
window.
all of these other things that happen in the game, like gunfire. Right now, that one fix alone is pretty much the reason you can't hear a damn thing and why you can't hear other people's footsteps.
Okay.
There's another change
So I
to
wonder
Modern
if
Warfare
it'll
3
be
that
as
hasn't
easy
been
to
ported
fix.
across to Black Ops
It
6.
sounds like it'll be.
Now,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that much. It sounds like it seems like a pretty straightforward fix, but I don't know how long or how tedious it would be to fix something like that.
Because it was found in my testing and in some of my experiments that you would hear kill streaks called in as far away as 400 or 500 meters, even though they absolutely had zero chance of affecting you.
Wait, he can hear the mortars? Oh my gosh. Dude! No, that is insane.
Well, guess what didn't get ported across? That exact change. You can now hear a cluster strike that's been called in from 500 meters away.
That is so insane.
It will be in your audio priority mix and will be prioritized over footsteps. This fix was made in Modern Warfare 3 that not only reduced the sound of kill streaks and took them out of the audio priority queue for things like footsteps, it's gone. It's not in the Black Ops 6 code. Based on my testing, you will hear airstrikes, mortar strikes, and other kill streaks from several miles away for absolutely no particular reason. So in the process of developing this new engine for Black Ops 6, all of these quality of life changes that were in the pipeline had not been ported over. And it isn't just necessarily a Call of Duty issue. This is something that used to plague the Battlefield franchise many, many years ago. Battlefield, in response to that, created a development team called Battlefield Central Technology that is in charge of making sure that fixes and engine fixes...
Dude, Brett really knows his stuff. He really knows his stuff.
Very clearly have not done that. And if you want another example of that, the actual transfer of Urzikstan itself is kind of busted.
This is kind of like off topic, but that little slide right there, which is like, it's super weird. Like the Omni movement is great, yes, but I think this is a huge issue with some of the movement. It like, it's good and it's bad, but here it feels so hard to stop your character sometimes. Look at how long this slide is. Like sometimes you want to just hide behind this little loadout and he just like completely slides by it and he's just right in the open. It's, I don't know. It's like a give and take. Like it's good, but it's bad. I don't know. Sorry, off topic, but
he's kind of busted. I can't tell whether the character models for Black Ops 6 are smaller or if the physical camera at which your character faces out into the world has changed, but Urzikstan feels bigger by accident. It feels like the scaling is off by
yeah, I did notice that. Like toilets and trash cans are like super big, so they definitely made your character smaller.
Visually, something has changed.
Right.
And I think it's a great indicator of the underlying jank that seems to have occurred from Black Ops 6 being in development at the same time as Modern Warfare 3 making substantial engine changes. And because of all of this, there's lots of other glitches that have re-entered the fray that you may remember from the Modern Warfare 3 or even Modern Warfare 2 era. For example, in Urzikstan, there is the memory leak that turns grass and mud textures into looking like Play-Doh or clay.
Yeah.
That is back in the game. Mouse input and latency is also really spotty.
I've heard keyboard and mouse is miserable on the new Warzone integration.
Quite responsive depending on whether or not you're using legacy.
But I heard it's okay in Black Ops 6, so I don't know.
It seems to be very up and down. Sometimes it seems to be great, other times it seems to be terrible. Another change from Modern Warfare 3 was centering. It was deliberately changed so that sway and centering would be removed from the vast majority of weapons to create a better raw mouse input for the vast majority of players.
That's rough.
And this would also technically apply to controller as well, because sway and centering does identically affect both platforms, but it's far more noticeable on the KBM input. This change, another really solid quality of life improvement, has not made it across into Black Ops 6. It doesn't exist. They've tried to fix a couple of things by the looks of things going into Season 1, but again, another core engine change has not made it across. And honestly, performance too. Now, I don't really know what's going on in this category, and I can't tell whether this is by design or not, but it seems like the rendering distance for Urzikstan has been set to maximum and maximum detail. My performance in Urzikstan has gone from damn near 300 frames in places to pretty much just falling off a cliff. I'm talking maybe a 30 to 40% performance impact.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so to explain a little bit what he was talking about right there. So if you're looking at like Urzikstan as a whole, like if you're at Popov at the top of the map and you're looking downtown, for some reason it's loading a lot further than normal, which is just obviously going to chalk your frames and stuff because the game is loading a lot more. It has a lot more memory and like just things that it's got to load in. So that's probably what's messing up a lot of the frames and stuff right now. And I'm sure, again, it's something they're actively working on. It's just something to recognize.
Of card that you're using. So universally across the board, a number of key and significant changes, especially to the core engine base of Modern Warfare 3, have just not made it into Black Ops 6. They're not part of Season 1. I highly doubt they'll be part of Season 1 Reloaded. And we've taken 2 steps forward, and there are some good quality of life changes in this game, and 5 steps back. If you think of Modern Warfare 3 as version 0.0 to version 1.0, we're basically somewhere around 0.2. This game has been pretty much taken back near a year and a half in terms of quality of life. That's really stripped away key fundamentals of how this game's operated and how it's significantly improved over past iterations of Warzone. So that's the first major buck stop.
Yeah, I will say Warzone 3 or Modern Warfare 3 was a huge growth. Like, I feel like there was so much growth in Warzone 3.
Why audio feels chill, why character scaling on Urzikstan.
And we went back on a lot of those things.
This port just hasn't accounted for a number of really important changes that Modern Warfare 3 has made over the last year, and credit to Sledgehammer and Raven for making them.
Yep.
But the next big thing is that generally speaking, there seems to be a lot of inconsistency in Black Ops 6's performance. And I'm not just talking about frame rate. Damage multipliers for weapons seem to be all over the place. And if you look online, opinions about time to kill range from it's too slow to it's way too fast.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what's occurring for this. I haven't managed to do enough testing to validate what appears to be going on. But if I was to hazard a guess, I would say that weapons don't have the correct values for plates in some instances, or are ignoring the values that they're supposed to have for plates in some instances.
Yeah. So up close, it's super fast. Far distance, it's super slow. And it's super inconsistent.
Like a Model L in one situation, and then in a second
it's like the bullet drop off is like so different.
Radically different time to kills.
Yeah.
It could be how they're handling hitboxes. It could be how they're handling damage ranges. But I'd be willing to bet it's something to do with multipliers that's not registering correctly. I've already touched on spatial audio, but arguably one of the most disappointing parts of all of this is that the spatial audio engine, if it had the Modern Warfare 3 fixes, is actually really, really good.
Yeah.
Now, I know this sounds really tongue-in-cheek, and I know a lot of you are going to be like, he said the audio's good, take him down. Hang on a second. Now, if you strip back all of the Modern Warfare 3 changes and you don't make any noise yourself, and you just listen around to the soundscape, you can actually see that the spatial audio engine with the correct adjustments will be phenomenal.
That's so crazy.
You can get PUBG-style audio where you can identify the distance at which a gunfight is happening on a different side of the map over range really, really accurately now. And that's something I've wanted to see in COD for a long, long time. But because they didn't copy over all of the good changes from Modern Warfare 3, it's been completely muddied, it's a total mess, and spatial audio is not working well. And right now, I would highly recommend in Warzone turning off enhanced headphone mode and HRTF until fixes are made. And then on top of that, we have the usual integration jank of certain attachments not working properly.
So what it sounds like is he's saying if they fix the individual audio, like your character is making so much noise that it's kind of clouding everything else. If they fix that, by the sounds of it, it sounds like he's saying that it should fix all of the other spatial audio. I don't know if that's necessarily like true. However, again, I'm curious to see how they kind of minimize like the teammate individual audio so that they can enhance some of the enemy footsteps and stuff like that.
Properly, loadout seemingly resetting at random. And unfortunately, I have to say I have encountered cheaters already.
Yeah.
Granted, it wasn't a huge amount across 12 hours of gameplay, but one entire team just straight up rage hacking with seemingly no ban in
That's
place.
crazy.
The last thing I'll say in terms of things that just haven't made sense before I touch on some of the good things, because there are some really good things in Black Ops 6 that are worth talking about, is that it's a shame to me that in order to get the fluidity that Black Ops 6 can provide, you have to dig through 30 different menus.
Yeah, I agree.
If you want a really fluid experience,
Settings are
6,
super crazy.
Prioritize interact under your combat settings. Turn off tactical sprint interrupting your reload in the settings.
Yep.
And also enable sprint assist, but not necessarily automatic tac sprint, and change tac sprint to single tap.
I agree.
Get pretty much the best of both worlds in terms of
That's what I do.
whilst also being able to tac sprint at a whim by clicking into your analog stick once. Yep. The same applies to mouses as well and keyboards.
So basically what he's saying there is, one, there's a couple settings that are under movement, I believe. It's like cancel sprint with reload, or cancel reload with sprint, or your slide maintains sprint. There's a couple of things like that. And then also, I personally don't use tactical sprint assist. I just use sprint assist, and then I have it on. So if I click in my thumbstick, you got to also put your single tap run on, so that if you click in your thumbstick once, you tactical sprint. But if you just move your stick left and right, it does the sprint, not the tactical sprint. Kind of a preference, but in my opinion, I feel like it's way more responsive.
Will change it. But there's something to be said about the fact that you need to bury through 35 different menus and understand how 3 key settings can entirely change the fluidity of how Warzone works in order for you to experience the game. They should just be this way by default. Right now, you can instantly loot things off the ground, almost instantly and perfectly.
It's super responsive. It's a little too responsive.
Fast, you can plate really quickly. You can do all of this without being interrupted by various animations. And it's just not available to people because it's buried in settings and it feels clunky and it feels weird. There are lots of really good changes in Black Ops 6's version of Warzone that make it a fun experience. Omni movement by itself with the right settings is absolutely phenomenal, and I genuinely couldn't picture Warzone without Omni movement going forward.
I agree.
You can now pick up self-revives if you're downed and there's one on the floor.
That is insane. Sick quality of life change.
Duration cut from 3 seconds to 2 to make a more balanced combat. There is even things like plate replacement, which has been increased in speed. There are lots of really thoughtful quality of life changes, like increasing the overall amount it takes to revive somebody to make combat experiences feel a bit more like the original Warzone and make downs feel rewarding as opposed to people pulling out 6 self-revives from their backpacks.
Agreed.
And backpacks and inventory systems are entirely gone. So you
backpacks being gone are exactly what we needed.
Instead of spamming 16 grenades and 4 airstrikes in order to win a fight. You can get unlimited tac sprint by switching out to your knife, which is a really nice change. And they seemingly have solved the issue of things like lag whilst interacting with items and interacting with the buy station, so long as you are using the prioritize interact experience button that I've referenced before.
My gosh, that gun's disgusting.
The game in a lot of ways feels phenomenally better, and then in other ways and ways that matter the most, like audio, feels phenomenally worse.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating that we're going into this sort of crescendo again of backwards and forth and things just not working correctly. I think if I'm Call of Duty, I need to start thinking more long term here. You know, there are no excuses for this anymore. I understand from a technical standpoint, as somebody who has worked with game developers, who has been paid for to talk to game developers about certain things and expectations, and understands how these engines fundamentally work. That going from an older build to a newer build has probably been a lot of work for the development team. They've also decoupled the files from Warzone from the base game. Has also probably been a lot of technical debt. But the reality is, to the average player who is picking up Black Ops 6 and trying the new version of Warzone, they are once again witnessing
look at how far
integration. I don't know how many there's been now, maybe 4 or 5, that just seems to be a total mess.
I don't know. What do you guys think? I think every year we get a new integration, and it just completely changes the game because they do all these really good things in updates throughout the year. Like Warzone 3, Sledgehammer killed it, man. They had so many great updates throughout the year. And then at the end of the year, we just get a new game. And it's like all that progress we made, they kind of go back a little bit because they do this new integration. And again, I know new is good, but look at games like Dota 2, look at games like Apex, which have kind of kept the same, like, just the basis. You know, the basis of the game is always the same, but they change the map, they change the guns, they don't change like the movement, the mechanics, everything. And I think Omni Movement's great, but it's just really hard. Every year we get a new game. Warzone 2, then we got Warzone 3, now we're in Warzone quote unquote 4, Black Ops 6, and it's like it's just a new game every year, which is good and it's refreshing. But again, there's a lot of quality of life changes that we lose with that. So I don't know. I'm curious to kind of see how they, in the future, how they continue to maneuver with Warzone.
And every large integration becomes an excuse for the game to take 10 steps backwards.
Right.
Call of Duty Warzone will be replaced. And I genuinely do believe a solid Battlefield Battle Royale is definitely taking full aim at this game right now.
I disagree.
So we're talking about another 4 to 6 months for them to resolve things that were already fixed in the first place.
I don't think any game's going to take down Warzone. I just think it's they got to just make the game better so that they can maintain player base.
I really enjoyed. Identifying loot on the floor is easier, picking it up is easier. The fact the inventory system is gone fundamentally changes the way Warzone plays and makes it more competitive.
Dude, backpacks were crazy.
17 self-revives anymore.
Smoke grenades, everything. Oh my gosh.
The game makes a lot of changes that makes the game more like a battle royale, more competitive, makes it more thoughtful, but just absolutely throws all of it out the window by taking every inch of quality of life and dumping it. Last night, I was willing to say that this update felt like an 8 out of 10. And it did for me at the time. You know, there was generally some natural physics that felt better for vehicles. Character lighting felt a little bit better. Just, you could see base quality improvements that were really good. But within the space of 10 hours, you really notice all of the stuff that's gone missing. And if my testing's anything to go by, it means that a number of QOL changes just haven't made the cut. And probably won't until maybe Season 2, Season 3.
Yeah, who
That's why I
knows?
did this video today, folks. This isn't just a video of me dunking on Call of Duty. You know, I want this game to be fun, and I really do support Call of Duty heading in the right direction. But there's just things that don't make sense here. I mean, you can't even customize your UI in Warzone, a promised feature from day one.
I didn't even know that because I haven't messed with it a bit.
Be fixed in a very short space of time. As always, folks, thank you for watching
Wow.
this video.
Yo, honestly, great video from Brit. I will say a lot of things that there's just some things in the game right now, like audio, some of the movement, the bullet reg, stuff like that, like things that just the little things that they need to fix. I mean, I say little, but it just, there are things that they need to fix that would just make the game so much better. And it's so, I'm very hopeful that we can hopefully have a better game within the next month. But I don't know. I'm scared every year. It feels like we get a game, it's a little broken, and it takes 4 to 5 months for them to kind of build the game up to what it can be. And then we get one bad update with, you know, not a lot of meta changes and stuff like that. And then we kind of build up the game to the rest of the year where it's good. And then we get a new game again the next year. And it feels like that cycle that we're kind of in. So I'm curious to see how quick Treyarch and Black Ops 6 can kind of integrate more smoothly into Warzone. And hopefully we get those changes quick. That's going to be it for the video, though, guys. Make sure you guys go drop Tactical Brit a subscribe. I'll put his information down below. And again, Brit, incredible video. Thank you for allowing me to react to it. If you guys are new here, again, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel with your post notifications on. Also comment down below. I want to hear what you guys think of Black Ops 6 and the Warzone integration. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, peace, peace.